In this unit, we're going to cover registering your business with the Secretary of State. We're going to cover employer identification numbers, licensing with the Office of Consumer Credit Commissioner, motor vehicle sales tax, annual motor vehicle inventory declaration, monthly vehicle inventory tax statements, prepaying inventory taxes due, unit property tax factor, and vehicle appraisals by dealers. Registering your dealership with the Texas Secretary of State and designating a registered agent. Many business entities operating in Texas must register with the Texas Secretary of State's office. Sole proprietors and general partnerships do not need to register with the Texas Secretary of State's office. As a business owner in a state, you will also need what is known as a registered agent. The following are the most common type of business entities in the state of Texas. A corporation. A Texas corporation is created by filing a certificate of formation with the Texas Secretary of State. You may file your corporate documents by mail or file paperwork through the SOS Direct system, which we will cover here in just a few moments. A corporation is made up of shareholders and directors. Limited liability company, or LLC. A Texas limited liability company is created by filing a certificate of formation with the Texas Secretary of State. Any person on an LLC is referred to as a member. An LLC may have one member or multiple members. If filing as an LLC, you will need to decide whether the LLC will be managed by a manager, referred to as a manager-managed LLC, or if the LLC will be managed by a member, which is referred to as a member-managed LLC. An LLC has some reduced liabilities for members, but you should always seek legal advice when deciding on how to structure your dealership's business entity. You may file your LLC documents by mail or file through the SOS Direct system. A limited partnership, or an LP. A Texas limited partnership is a partnership formed by two or more persons and having one or more general partners and one or more limited partners. This is more of a technical business entity, and you will need to have a written agreement to operate in accordance with state law. You may file your limited partnership documents by mail, or you can file the paperwork directly through the SOS Direct system. Limited liability partnership, or LLP. In order to limit the liability of its general partners, a general or limited partnership may opt to register as a limited liability partnership. You may file your limited liability partnership documents by mail, or once again, you can do that right through SOS Direct. If you're operating your dealership as a sole proprietor or a general partnership, you will need to register your DBA, or your assumed name certificate, with the county where the business is located. An assumed name certificate should be filed for all counties where business is conducted under the assumed name, such as all supplemental dealership locations in separate counties. General partnership. A general partnership is a business organization when two or more persons start a business for profit. If the partnership is conducted under assumed name, then that's a name other than the proper name of the individuals, then an assumed name certificate should be filed with the office of the county clerk, where the county of the business premises is maintained. An assumed name certificate should be filed in all counties where business is conducted under that name, such as supplemental locations in separate counties as stated earlier. You will need a new dealer license when you switch certain business registration categories. So, a sole proprietor can't change to a general partnership and vice versa, and a sole proprietor or general partnership can't change to the type of business that's required to file with Texas. So you have to make sure that you have these business entities correctly filed if you are switching from one business entity to another. Upon determining the type of business entity for your dealership, the Secretary of State's office can assist you in the filing process, or they can answer your questions. And you can easily contact the Texas Secretary of State Business and Commercial section, either via email at corpinfo@sos.texas.gov, or you can easily call them at 512-463-5555. Neither the Automobile Dealer Training Association nor the Texas Secretary of State's office may advise you on what type of business entity to form. it's always best to consult with an attorney who can properly advise you. Texas Registered Agent. The Texas Business Organizations Code requires every domestic or foreign filing entity to maintain a registered agent and office in the state of Texas. A domestic filing entity and a foreign filing entity registered to do business in Texas are required to continuously maintain a registered agent and a registered address in Texas, according to the Business Operations Code 5.201 Part B. An entity's registered office must be a physical address in Texas where the registered agent can be served with process during business hours. The registered office is also where the Office of Secretary of State will mail all correspondence. A registered office is the business office address of the registered agent and may be the same as the entity's place of business. It cannot, however, be a post office that is part of a commercial mail or messages service unless that commercial enterprise is the actual registered agent. A registered agent must be an individual resident of Texas or an organization other than the organization to be represented that is registered to do business in Texas. So, for example, I want to talk about that. An LLC may not act as the LLC's registered agent, but an owner, officer, or partner of the LLC may act as the registered agent. I want to repeat that. An LLC may not act as the LLC's registered agent, but an owner, officer, or partner of the LLC may act as the registered agent. The registered office address must be located at the street address where service of process may be personally served on the entity's registered agent during normal hours. So, you can view more information about registered agents with Texas Form 401. So you can actually go to Google, type in registered agents form 401, and you'll be able to easily see that form for other information. If you are acting as your own registered agent, you will need to complete that registered agent form 401 and then store it in your records. You may also use one of the many businesses in the state of Texas that act as registered agents. You can just go to your favorite search engine and type in Texas Registered Agent, and you will find many companies that will charge nominal fees to serve as your registered agent if you need be. You must determine your registered agent before filing your business entity with the Secretary of State. I want to repeat that. You must determine your registered agent before filing your business entity with the Secretary of State. Registered agent information must be submitted with your Secretary of State business filings. There are 3 ways to register your new business with the Texas Secretary of State's office. You can file online using SOS Direct, which we will cover here in just a couple of moments. You can fax your documents to the Secretary of State, or you can mail your documents to the Secretary of State. I also want you to be aware that all owners and members of businesses that are required to file with the Texas Secretary of State must also be listed in the owner and management section of the dealer license application. And the business status must remain active and in good standing with the Texas Secretary of State throughout the time that the dealer is licensed. So you must always maintain your registration with the Secretary of State if required during your dealer licensure period. I want to show you quite possibly the easiest way to register your business with the Secretary of State, and it's what's known as SOS Direct. The Texas Secretary of State has a very business-friendly website that makes it extremely easy to start a business in the state of Texas and file your appropriate paperwork. Here you can see the business services page of the Secretary of State's website. This website is extremely helpful when you are starting a new business, such as your new dealership. You can view business basics, helpful startup information. You can view many business forms, filing options, and much, much more. As stated a few moments ago, there are 3 different ways you may register your business with the Secretary of State. Online, through the Secretary of State's SOS Direct, and we're going to cover this extensively in just a few moments. You can fax documents, or you can actually mail your documents to the Secretary of State's office in Austin. That's P.O. Box 13697, okay? And you can even have them overnighted if you want to for an additional $25. Normally, the filing fee is $750 no matter how you submit your documents to the Secretary of State. If you file online or fax in the documents, credit card payments are subject to a convenience fee of 2.7% at the current time. You may do most formation documents through the SOS Direct online filing system. When you file documents online, you must provide your credit card information, or if you're paying through e-check, make sure that you have enough funds in your account to pay for the e-check filing. The system does not keep credit card information on file, obviously, for security purposes. You also want to have Acrobat Reader 7.0 or newer and WinZip 7.0 or better, or any other type of current unzipping program. Next, we're going to learn how to file our documents with the Secretary of State SOS Direct online searching and filing system that we'll go into here in just a moment. Before we get started, though, I want you to know for this example, we're going to file our business as a limited liability company, as an example, as an LLC. This is to be used only as an example for demonstration purposes. I always want to remind you, you'll need to seek legal advice when deciding how to structure the business entity of your dealership. So right now, we're going to click on the SOS Direct logo at the very top left of the Business Services page of the Secretary of State's website. Now you'll click on the Enter Site button, and I want you to be advised that you are going to be charged $1 in order to have access to this system. So you're going to have to create an SOS Direct account. You'll click on the Request for SOS Direct Account link near the bottom of the page. You'll enter either your business name or your first or last name, not both. I want to repeat that. You'll either enter your business name or your first and last name, not both. Then you'll click Continue, enter your address, phone number, email address. Then you're going to create a new password and confirm the password. And always be sure to, store those username and passwords in a safe place for future reference. And I also want to just give you a reminder, if you ever stop this course and start again, always be sure that you use the same username and password. You want to make sure and record those in a safe place and always use the same usernames and passwords. So you're going to click Continue. First, you're going to have to enter your credit card for the first time, and your credit card is going to be charged $1 just to enter this system. So you'll enter your credit card information, you'll click Continue. You will now be emailed an SOS Direct user ID, and you must use the user ID that is emailed to you so you can log back on to SOS Direct, okay? So you'll enter your SOS Direct user ID and password that you created just a few moments ago, and then you're going to click Submit. And now you're going to have to re-enter your contact information again, okay? So some of it's repetitive, but you will never be able to move on to the next page until you have completed all the required information on the current page. You will then be required to enter your credit card information a second time, and the second time that you enter the credit card, this will pay for any official filings for your corporate paperwork. Then you'll click Continue. Now you click on Business Organizations at the top left of the screen to begin filing your required dealership documents with the Texas Secretary of State. Now that you are officially logged in, you may select from several choices here on this screen, okay? And from the Reservation Formation Registration Documents menu, you will choose your business entity from the drop-down box. And for this example, like we stated just a moment ago, we're going to be filing as a domestic limited liability company, which is an LLC that is located in the state of Texas. This is only to be used as an example. Be sure to seek legal advice before deciding on your business entity. So you'll select your business entity, then you'll click on the File Document button. Now you'll enter your filing type. You'll select Certificate of Formation, then click the Continue button. You'll enter the name of your dealership and click on the Name Availability search box. If you're filing as an LLC, LP, or an LLP, you must have the letters LLC, LP, or LLP in your business name. I want to repeat that. If you're filing your new business as an LLC, LP, or an LLP, you must have the letters LLC, LP, or LLP in your business name. If that name is available, then you'll be able to click the Continue box to reserve your business name, and then you'll enter your Texas registered agent information here. Remember, we have to have the registered agent before we can file our paperwork with the Texas Secretary of State's office. So enter your Texas registered agent information here. You'll click the continue box. Now you'll enter your owner information, and also at any time you can enter your governing authority. Either that's your owner information name or your business name. And always remember that you have to enter all members of the license. So right here you can add additional names if you do have to do that. Then you'll enter any supplemental documents, such as maybe an organizational agreement here, if that's applicable. So you can upload any additional documents. Then you'll click the continue box, and you'll need to enter the organizer of the LLC. This will be the managing partner, or if you are the only person on the LLC, you will enter your name. Then click the continue box. You will now enter your signature and the delayed starting date of the LLC, which must be at least 1 day later than the day that you're filing. Your delayed date may not be the same date that you're filing through this system. It has to be at least 1 day later. So then you're going to click the continue box. Now you're going to see an overview of the document that you're getting ready to submit to the Texas Secretary of State's office. Be sure this document is read very carefully, as it is legally binding. Make sure all the information is true and correct. When you're sure the document is true and correct, you will click on the Submit Filing button at the top left of the page to submit your filing document to the Texas Secretary of State. Your filing fee may be different than the fee that is shown because the fees are based on the type of business entity that you are filing. And also make sure there are no mistakes on that. If there is for some reason a mistake, you will not be able to amend the business filing. You'll have to start over from the beginning. If there is a mistake on your filing, your credit card will not be charged until that issue is resolved. If you submit your filing correctly, then your credit card will be charged immediately. But you'll receive notification of your filing within 48 hours of your SOS Direct application. And that verification will normally contain 3 documents, which are your Secretary of State acknowledgement form, your Secretary of State certificate, and your Secretary of State original document. So be sure that you should store all of those copies in your files. You know, I want you to be aware, if you have not received an email verifying your filing within 48 hours, you should definitely contact the Texas Secretary of State's Business and Commercial section, and you can email them at corpinfo@sos.texas.gov, or there on the screen. Also, you can call them at 512-463-5555, and you'll see that contact information scattered throughout your dealer manual that you did download at the beginning of the course. If you ever close your dealership, then you would need to terminate your business entity. So your document will be processed within 24 hours, and the outcome of the processing, which is evidence of filing or possibly a rejection letter, will be emailed to you. So the website, like I said, they're going to send you 2 emails to the email that you have on file for the account. And the first is a packing slip. So make sure that you check your spam or trash folder, because sometimes the state's emails would possibly go there. So the second email is the notice that your document was either accepted or rejected, and that will also contain a link to retrieve any document information. Very easy to do. But once again, I want you just to be aware, if you ever cease the operation of your dealership, you must properly dissolve your business with the Texas Secretary of State's office, or you could face future tax liabilities. It is imperative that you seek legal advice when setting up the business entity classification for your dealership. I want to show you how to obtain your employer identification number. Before you apply for your Texas Used Motor Vehicle Dealer's License, you may need to apply for an employer identification number, sometimes referred to as an EIN. This is the number the Internal Revenue Service uses to identify your business for tax purposes. You can apply for your EIN for free at irs.gov, or you can call them directly at 800-829-4933. When you obtain your EIN, you will need to record it in a safe place. You may be required to enter this number on your initial dealer application. Sole proprietors without any employees may use their Social Security number and don't have to file for an employer identification number. If you are a sole proprietor with employees, you will need to have an employer identification number. So sole proprietors that do not have employees can use their Social Security number. However, remember, sole proprietors that have employees will need to have an employer identification number. You can begin at the IRS website. Just go to irs.gov And you're going to scroll down and click on the Begin Application button. You're going to select your business entity. For this training scenario, we will be filing as a limited liability company. That's an LLC. This is just for demonstration purposes only. As stated earlier, always be sure to seek legal advice before deciding what type of business entity you will be forming. Select how many members and the state of Texas. So for this example, we will state there is only one member of the LLC. And Texas is what's known as a community property state, so you will need to select whether or not any members are husband and wife. You will then be asked why you are filing. So you will normally select started a new business. You'll enter the name and social security number and select whether or not you are one of the owners. You'll enter the address and phone number and a mail forwarding address if applicable. Then you're going to enter the legal name, the DBA, the county where the dealership is located, the state where the dealership is located, which obviously has to be Texas, and your home state. Select Texas if you live in Texas, or your home state if you live in another state. Then select your start date. Select then how you would like to receive your employer identification number. For quickest receipt, you should select the Receive Letter Online box so you can obtain your employer identification number immediately. Choosing to receive your employer identification number by mail can take as long as 4 weeks, which would substantially delay your dealer application process. If you have any questions about your employer identification number, you can call the IRS directly at 800-829-4933. Be sure to record your employer identification number in a safe place, as it is required to obtain most dealer licenses, and it will be used on your business tax returns every year. Next, I want to talk about licensing with the Texas Office of Consumer Credit Commissioner. Dealers that are involved in any type of financing, maybe you're offering buy here, pay here financing, which we would refer to as in-house financing, or maybe you're using some other type of finance company to do financing for you, then you must be licensed with the Texas Office of Consumer Credit Commissioner. So if you provide in-house or out-of-house financing, you must be licensed with the Texas Office of Consumer Credit Commissioner. And you can call them at 512-936-7600, or you can go straight to their website, www.occc.texas.gov, to obtain your required license. And I want to show you how to do this. You're going to jump onto the website and create a username and password, and you'll always have to enter those digits or numbers at the bottom of the screen there as a security process. So you're going to submit, and you will receive an email from the system. And then you're going to jump on here and either select whether you're a sole proprietor or a corporation. And if you're a corporation, then you will actually have to enter your employer identification number. And then it's going to take you to the Manage My Business section. So you can enter the required information here. The request must be approved by the Office of Consumer Credit Commissioner. Your request will be in the received status until it's approved. So the Office of Consumer Credit Commissioner would like you to allow at least 3 to 4 business days for the approval. So when the request is approved, you'll receive an email, and the status in your account will move from received to approved. And at that time, you can either start offering in-house or out-of-house financing. So if you have any questions whatsoever, you can call the Texas Office of Consumer Credit Commissioner directly at 512-936-7600, or you can drop them an email at licensing@occc.texas.gov. And once again, there's their website, www.occc.texas.gov. Remember, if you're offering any type of in-house financing or out-of-house financing, basically any type of financing whatsoever, you will be required to obtain a license with the Texas Office of Consumer Credit Commissioner.